The girlfriend of the gunman who shot dead 58 people in Las Vegas has said she had no idea what he was plotting. Mary Lou Danley arrived back in the US on Tuesday. Her partner Stephen Paddock, who carried out the attack, paid for her to go to the Philippines and also wired her €85,000. Danley's first public comments were read by her lawyer.
Good afternoon. I was grateful, but honestly, I was worried that first, the unexpected trip home, and then the money was a way of breaking up with me. It never occurred to me in any way whatsoever that he was planning violence against anyone.
For the moment, the motive for the attack still remains a mystery. Earlier, several photos from inside the suite of the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which Paddock checked into, were released. In all, 23 weapons were found in the room from where the 64-year-old retired accountant fired a barrage of bullets at concert-goers who were attending Sunday's country music festival. Police in Las Vegas now believe Paddock meticulously planned the concert massacre, acquiring weapons over decades. Many in the gambling city still remain in shock over Sunday night's events, which have prompted calls for reform to US gun laws. President Donald Trump has visited some of the hundreds of victims of the Las Vegas shooting, hailing their tremendous bravery. Joined by First Lady Melania, he also praised the courage and professionalism of police and hospital staff following Sunday night's attack.
In the depths of horror, we will always find hope in the men and women who risk their lives for ours. The mass murder that took place on Sunday night fills America's heart with grief. America is truly a nation in mourning.
At least 59 people were killed and more than 500 injured in Sunday night's mass shooting, the deadliest in modern US history.
The body of the last person reported missing in the Mexico earthquake has been found in the collapsed office block in Mexico City's Roma district, and rescuers have called off any remaining searches for survivors. Since September the 19th, teams have been struggling to rescue the injured and locate survivors. The grim news brings the final death toll to 369. Public anger has been rising at what some call the inadequate official response, particularly in poorer districts, and why some 10% of homes destroyed were built after the 1985 quake, which killed 10,000 people and led to stricter building codes being adopted. Demonstrators called for construction companies that had cut corners to be prosecuted. In all, 11,000 buildings were damaged and 1,500 of them will need to be demolished.
On Wednesday, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission approved up to $77 million to fund repairs of communication networks. The funds will also be used to restore services in storm-lashed Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Almost 2 weeks have passed since Hurricane Maria walloped Puerto Rico, knocking out its electric grid. Nearly 90% of cell phone sites on the island remain out of service. Almost 70% of cell towers remained out in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Little progress has been made over the last week.
The president of Catalonia has heavily criticised Spain's King Felipe vowing to carry out the will of the Catalan people following the region's recent independence referendum. In a televised address, Carles Puigdemont attacked the monarch for deliberately ignoring millions of Catalans and also blasted Madrid for not accepting mediation. The king has defended the speech and policies of Mariano Rajoy's government, which have been catastrophic for Catalonia, and he ignores deliberately the millions of Catalans who do not think the same way. Puigdemont said, "I would like to address your Majesty directly in the language that he understands, knows and speaks. With your decision yesterday, you've disappointed many Catalonian people who appreciated you, who have helped you in your difficult times in your institutional role. People who expected another tone from you and a call for dialogue and agreement." The Catalan leader's address followed the king's rare intervention on Tuesday, in which he branded the northeastern region's independence referendum as illegal and undemocratic. Around 900 people were injured in Sunday's vote after Spanish police attempted to halt the ballot.
Iraqi forces say they've recaptured the center of Hawija, one of the Islamic State group's last strongholds in the country. However, some fighting continued in an area to the north and east of the town where the militants were surrounded. The recapture would mean the only area ISIL still holds in Iraq is a stretch of land alongside the border with Syria. The US-backed offensive to retake Hawija began 2 weeks ago. Thousands of families have been fleeing the fighting, leaving behind 3 years of Islamic State rule. But up to 78,000 people could still be trapped in the area, according to the UN.
On Wednesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that a military strike against North Korea designed to destroy the rogue nation's nuclear and missile program might not succeed because it could have hidden military facilities that no one yet knows about. Speaking at an energy forum in Moscow, Putin said, "Can a global strike against North Korea be launched to disarm it? Yes. Will it achieve its aim? We don't know. Who knows what they have there and where? Nobody knows with 100% certainty as it's a closed country." He then went on to add that Russia is concerned by Pyongyang's missile program due to North Korea's nuclear testing range being located just 200 kilometers from the Russian border.
É deporte na caminda, despesa e espaço comercial na continuação.